No, I don't find, I'm just being myself.
She is a very calculating, manipulative woman who has got Harry in her clutches, and she knows that this is worth millions to her.
It started like any other sun-soaked day in Montecito, perfectly trimmed hedges, soft California light, and Meghan Markle rehearsing her next authentic social media moment. The Duchess of Reinvention had just dropped a sleek new campaign clip. Glossy lighting, designer threads, and that signature half-smile that whispers, "I'm relatable," just with better lighting. Every movement was calculated, every frame polished, like she was telling the world she had it all perfectly under control. Even the smallest details, from the placement of a candle to the exact tilt of her head, seemed meticulously staged to convey effortless charm. But of course, the internet did what it does best: zoom in, frame by frame. Within hours, a tiny blink-and-you-miss-it detail lurking in the background had Meghan's entire PR empire teetering on the edge of chaos. One fan typed, "Wait, is that what I think it is?" Another fired back, "No way, she wouldn't be that careless." But she was. Suddenly, what should have been a routine post turned into a digital wildfire that no amount of editing could contain. Because that hidden clue, it unraveled a whole web of secrets Meghan had carefully buried for years. The Duchess of Image Control suddenly faced her worst nightmare. The world had caught her slipping.
The bewildering Instagram video over the weekend, and I saw it, and this is her.
Within 24 hours, the clip exploded across every corner of social media. Hashtags blazed like wildfire. Hashtag Meghan exposed, hashtag caught in the act, hashtag PR nightmare, hashtag image fail. Pick your poison. Every scroll, every share, every screenshot added fuel to a fire her team couldn't possibly contain. For someone who built an empire on perfection, this was total betrayal. Insiders say Meghan was in complete disbelief. Weeks of footage approvals, personal sign-offs on angles, backgrounds, even colour grading, gone in an instant.
When she was dismayed by suffocatingly pompous palace procedure and despaired of her regal in-laws. When challenged about her book contract, Jessica insisted she has no intention of spilling the Meghan beans.
This time, something or someone had slipped up, and now the world was seeing something she never wanted them to see. At first, Meghan reportedly laughed it off. "It's just trolls," she said. "They're obsessed." But that calm didn't last. As the story spread, it wasn't just trolls. Fans, former supporters, even some Hollywood allies started whispering behind the scenes. Everyone wanted answers. Was this detail real? And what did it mean? The curiosity intensified with every post, tweet, and article, turning speculation into a global conversation. Let's rewind. In the now viral clip, Meghan sits in what looks like her Montecito office. Minimalist decor, luxury candles, and a bookshelf neatly lined with inspirational reads. A classic Meghan setup, but eagle-eyed viewers noticed something strange. A small framed photo on the shelf, slightly out of focus. Not new, seemingly old. Fans zoomed, enhanced, cropped, froze the frame. And then they saw it. It wasn't Harry. It wasn't Archie. It wasn't Lilibet. It was Meghan, with another man. Not a celebrity, not a royal. Her former agent, the same man she accused of mismanaging her early career. This was the man who, years ago, helped negotiate one of her first acting gigs. A deal she later publicly distanced herself from. So why was his photo sitting in Meghan's new, curated workspace, years after she supposedly cut all ties? Social media went wild. Theories, screenshots, Reddit threads, and online sleuths debated endlessly about whether the photo was intentional, symbolic, or a careless oversight. Every angle, every reflection, every background object was scrutinized as if the world had suddenly become a giant magnifying glass pointed straight at her life. The discovery sent shockwaves through her fanbase. If the photo was intentional, it meant one thing: Meghan was rewriting her past. Again, within hours, internet detectives pieced together the story. Reddit exploded with side-by-side comparisons, screenshots, and wild theories that the clip might have been filmed months earlier. One fan wrote, "Something doesn't add up. If this is new, why is she using props from her old Toronto office? This whole thing feels staged. And just like that, a simple campaign clip turned into a full-blown investigation into Meghan's authenticity, her relationships, and her desperate grip on how the world sees her. Suddenly, the question on everyone's lips: who is Meghan Markle really? Off camera, the fallout was brutal. Multiple sources say Meghan called an emergency meeting with her PR and legal teams that night. Raised voices, slammed doors, and a furious Duchess demanding to know who approved that footage. She felt sabotaged. One insider claimed she was convinced someone inside her camp was out to humiliate her, and honestly, maybe she wasn't wrong. Rumours swirled that a longtime staffer had quietly resigned just days before the video dropped. Someone who'd been with her since the early archetype days. And whispers from inside Montecito hinted that perhaps coincidences weren't coincidences. By the next morning, Meghan's team was in full-blown crisis mode. The video had been quietly pulled from multiple platforms, then re-uploaded with the camera angle slightly cropped, conveniently cutting out the infamous bookshelf. But it was already too late. The internet had receipts, and while Meghan scrambled to regain control, Harry was reportedly quiet, distant, almost detached from the chaos. Even one royal insider claimed he didn't see the big deal. He told her to let it go, but that's not how Meghan works. She doesn't let anything go. This wasn't just about an old photo, it was about control. Control over her story, her image, her carefully curated legacy. Because once the public starts connecting dots she didn't draw, the illusion begins to crack, and Meghan can't stand cracks. Meanwhile, British tabloids were having a field day. Meghan's photo fiasco screamed from every headline. Duchess in damage control mode. Who's the man in the frame? Gossip shows, entertainment blogs, YouTube commentators, they dissected every second of the clip like it was a national mystery. Some suggested it was a setup for sympathy, others said it was proof she was haunted by her past. Either way, the narrative was slipping, and slipping fast, and that's something Meghan Markle cannot tolerate. A friend close to the couple reportedly said Meghan spent the entire weekend glued to her phone, reading every comment, messaging her team at all hours, trying to spin the story. But every attempt made things worse. People weren't just talking about the photo anymore, they were digging into her entire backstory. Old interviews, deleted blog posts from the TIG, resurfaced photos from her early acting days. They all started trending. It was as if the internet had collectively decided to pull back the curtain on every detail she had tried to bury. And this time, there was no palace to shield her. No PR powerhouse to absorb the blow. This was Meghan versus the algorithm. And the algorithm was winning. By Monday morning, her meltdown reportedly hit its peak. She broke down in tears during a private call with a top Hollywood stylist. She'd been negotiating a brand partnership, but the ongoing noise surrounding her pushed her to pause discussions, and that rejection apparently felt like the final straw. Meghan thrives on momentum, on being the center of the conversation in the right way. But now every headline had turned sour. This wasn't just a PR hiccup, it was a public humiliation, one that cut right into the image she'd spent years polishing. She had wanted the world to see Meghan 2.0, calm, poised, untouchable. Instead, the world saw something far more human, far more chaotic, a woman still running from her past, still curating her future, and still unraveling under the spotlight. The second the mask slipped, her team quietly deleted posts, reissued statements, and tried to pivot toward positivity. But one question lingered in every headline, every podcast, every comment section across the internet. If Meghan's story keeps changing, maybe we never really knew her at all. The moment her team realized the internet wouldn't let this go, the war room went into overdrive. Phones buzzed, emails flew, and every PR contact she had charmed from Beverly Hills to Belgravia got the same urgent call. We need to pivot the narrative now. Meghan paced her marble kitchen, coffee untouched, anxiety mounting. Her communications director tried to steady her. We can spin this. We just need a distraction. And if there's one thing Meghan has mastered, it's the art of distraction. By noon, a glossy exclusive appeared in a friendly magazine, one that had always played ball. The piece painted Meghan as a working mother under relentless scrutiny, staying grounded through family and purpose. But the problem? No one was buying it this time. While Meghan's PR machine rolled out its soft focus counterattack, the internet was already 2 steps ahead, analysing every move. The public could feel the manipulation. They'd seen this playbook before. emotional victimhood, empowerment buzzwords, and a pivot to philanthropy. Only now, the audience was exhausted, skeptical, and ready to call it out. By the next day, headlines shifted again, but not in Meghan's favour. Meghan's meltdown, PR, panic inside Montecito mansion, Duchess blames team after video scandal. Hollywood sources say Meghan can't take criticism. It wasn't just tabloids anymore. Serious industry outlets, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, even entertainment insiders on Twitter began commenting on the unfolding chaos. In Hollywood, perception is currency, and Meghan's stock was plummeting fast. One insider put it bluntly, she's become radioactive. Nobody wanted to be tied to her brand when the internet was circling like sharks. And the chilling part, that insider wasn't exaggerating. Every passing hour seemed to make her untouchable image feel fragile, teetering on the edge of irrelevance. A major streaming executive reportedly pulled out of early talks for Meghan's next project, something involving lifestyle and motherhood content. Their reasoning, brand instability. Translation, she was becoming bad press wrapped in expensive packaging. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, the atmosphere was suffocating, heavy with tension, like a storm waiting to explode inside the mansion. Harry, ever the emotional anchor, tried to calm her, but his reassurances only made Meghan angrier. Every minute the video stayed viral felt like another betrayal. "They're trying to destroy me again," she allegedly snapped. But who were they? The press? The fans? The palace? Or someone much closer, hiding in plain sight, quietly stoking the fire? Amid the chaos, Meghan reportedly got word that a former staffer, the same assistant who quietly resigned before the video dropped, had begun talking, not directly to the press, but to people who talked to the press. And the whispers were brutal, cutting like knives through the fragile veneer of her Hollywood charm. This ex-staffer claimed Meghan personally approved the photo in question. The reason? Nostalgia. It was meant to symbolize her journey from struggle to success, but she never expected anyone to recognize the man in the photo. The revelation hit like thunder. If true, Meghan had single-handedly created her own scandal and then blamed her team when it backfired. In Hollywood, loyalty is everything. Betrayal like that is the ultimate sin. Soon, rumors began taking on a life of their own. Former team members shared cryptic posts on social media, vague, indirect, but enough to fuel the fire. One wrote, "When truth becomes too heavy for spin, even the best masks crack." Another posted a single word, liberated. The internet immediately connected the dots. Meghan's own people were turning on her. It wasn't just a PR crisis anymore, it was an internal collapse. By week's end, Hollywood had gone silent. The calls stopped. The invites dried up. Publicists who once tripped over themselves to work with her were now saying, "Let's wait and see how this plays out. And if you know Hollywood, you know what that means. The polite version of you're done." Brand deals began stalling. One by one, podcast sponsors went dark. Even her beloved lifestyle venture reportedly saw engagement dip after the fiasco. For someone who built an empire on perception, watching the shine fade so quickly was devastating. Each missed opportunity, each silent phone call felt like a public confirmation of her unraveling image. And when Meghan hurts, the world notices. One late-night paparazzi shot caught her leaving a private dinner in Santa Barbara. Eyes red, jaw clenched, Harry walking 2 steps behind her. The footage went viral instantly, Meghan in tears after the PR disaster. But what the cameras didn't capture was what happened later that night inside Montecito. According to insiders, that moment broke something in her. She called her remaining inner circle together and announced she was taking control of her own story. No more handlers, no more approval processes, no more waiting for others to fix things. "If they want authenticity," she said through tears, "I'll give them authenticity." The next morning, she posted a long emotional statement online, part defiance, part performance, and completely Meghan, blaming misrepresentation, cyberbullying, and the toxic environment that rewards hate over truth. But the twist, instead of sympathy, her statement triggered more backlash. People pointed out contradictions, old quotes that didn't match her narrative, inconsistencies in her story. The internet tore it apart line by line. Even some former celebrity supporters, the ones who once flooded her posts with heart emojis, stayed silent this time. And that silence was deafening behind the scenes. Even Harry reportedly grew weary. Friends close to him told British reporters he looked emotionally drained, caught between defending his wife and acknowledging that their life had become an endless PR battlefield. He'd once thought California would bring peace. Instead, it felt like a gilded cage made of gossip, cameras, and crisis meetings. And Meghan, she could feel it too. That slow, creeping unraveling of control, influence, and trust. The woman who once seemed untouchable was now flailing, surrounded by silence, scandal, and staff who wouldn't even meet her gaze. But perhaps the most brutal blow came days later, when one of Meghan's closest Hollywood confidants went on a podcast and dropped a quiet, calculated line that sent shockwaves across the entire industry. Sometimes people forget, authenticity can't be manufactured, not even with the best lighting. No names were mentioned, but everyone knew exactly who it was about. Meghan was humiliated because that friend, a woman she'd once invited into her Montecito home, photographed beside, praised publicly, had just turned the knife in the most Hollywood way possible, smiling, vague, and instantly viral. The betrayal stung sharper than any headline or trending hashtag ever could. By now, the Montecito mansion had become ground zero for emotional chaos. Staff were reportedly instructed not to mention the video, the article, or that friend's comment in Meghan's presence. Harry had retreated into quiet frustration while Meghan spent hours scrolling through coverage, analysing every headline, drafting potential comeback statements, and feeling the grip on her narrative slipping further with every passing minute. But deep down, she knew something had changed permanently. Her image, once polished to perfection, now had cracks too deep to ignore. For someone who built her identity on controlling the narrative, losing that grip is the worst nightmare imaginable. And at the end of the day, this wasn't just a PR failure. It was the moment Meghan Markle realised her greatest weapon, her ability to craft her story, had finally turned against her. And Hollywood doesn't forgive. It moves on. If you found this shocking, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment your thoughts below. Who else could survive a scandal like this?